We'll call this meeting to order. It's January 29th, 2025. It's 5:31 PM, and this is the Commission on Inclusion and Innovation. First thing I'll do is a roll call, starting to my left.
Prem Nagabandi.
Commissioner Tom Kosker.
Commissioner Megan O'Brien McNamara.
And William Kittle.
All right, thank you. We have minutes from October 23rd, 2024, our last meeting. You should have all gotten those emailed to you from Autumn. Thank you, Autumn. Are there any questions, any comments, any changes, edits at all?
No.
Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes.
I motion to accept the minutes.
Hear a second?
Second.
And all in favor? Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Thank you. Subcommittee reports, community conversations. Commissioner O'Brien McNamara.
Sure. So hi, everyone, and Happy New Year. So first official meeting in the new year. I'm reporting on the community conversations. We've had a couple meetings at the end of the year in November, December timeframe, and then also in January already, primarily focused on identifying our priorities for the year, centering on events and partnerships with other civic organizations and community partners, excuse me, establishing a calendar, establishing a partners list, and preparing for our upcoming commission meetings. We're really excited about opportunities this year to partner with our civic organizations, including Health and Human Services, the Cora J. Belden Library, the Historic Society, and amongst others. I think that's it. Anything to add?
Anything else? Prem, you want to add anything at all?
Yeah,
or-
absolutely. So
Okay, excellent, thanks.
the good news, we tried to connect with the library, and Mike Murphy, the library director, responded back to us,
right.
saying that he is very passionate about kind of connecting with us. So we will meet with him, look at opportunities to work with him to see where we can partner and collaborate on inclusion and innovation.
Excellent, excellent. That's good news. Yeah, again, the committee has done a little more concerted effort recently to try to reach out to other, both town organizations and community organizations, and we're making some headway in that area. And, you know, with the goal of sort of this collaboration, but also kind of cross connection to groups that may not be connected otherwise. So we can maybe help facilitate some of those connections between groups that might not otherwise be talking. So that's one of our goals that we talked about in some of those committee meetings. So thank you. Any questions at all for Megan?
And I can supplement that. And last year when we introduced our unity statement, we also introduced some commitments and then some activities that we would participate in to really deliver on those commitments. And those include hosting and participating in community conversations and unity events, which we just talked about, bringing visibility to community organizations, elevating community events with promotion and participation, creating visibility to observances, community events, and celebrations, and being a point of contact and sounding board for opportunities and recommendations to the council. So again, that's really where our community conversations has centered, with priorities for the year and getting very tactical on the calendar and administrative tasks to help support those activities.
Awesome. No, I know it's a little early, but I can't remember. Did we pick a date yet for our Walk a Mile event?
We did not.
Our Unity event? Okay, we didn't.
Last year it was in September.
Right. So that'll be probably up soon. We'll be talking about that discussion on picking dates and stuff like that.
And I can share some if
That'd be great.
folks
Yeah.
are interested,
Sure.
some of the things that we have talked about for the year. So on our calendar, we have our commission meetings. So we have this, I think it's 6 that we commit to, January, February, and March, May, August, and October. So for our full commission meetings. April, there's the spring around, that's the spring event with the Easter Bunny that the town puts on. We expect that the Rocky Hill High School will have a Holy event that we'd love to learn more about and help promote. Memorial Day Parade is May 26th. The town is planning a Juneteenth event at Elmridge Park on June 18th. Also in June is LGBTQ Pride, potentially looking at some opportunities to participate in different Pride events, perhaps exploring the Middletown Pride Fest in the parade and representation there. This is not a commitment at this point. These are just things that are marked on our calendar. We expect to participate in, there won't be the same level of community markets as there has been in the past, but other opportunities for community markets or vendor markets in town.
Yeah, I'll just speak to that quickly. In talking to Parks and Rec, I know they're modifying their plan from previous years and looking at having more of a couple of them, one kind of early summer, one early fall, or something like that, or late summer. So they're looking at having a couple different events like that. So community market sort of ideas, you know. Hello, Ralph. Glad you made it. The traffic, sorry.
Yeah, I sent you a text.
I got your text, sorry.
Okay.
Tough time of day. Thank you.
September timeframe is when we had the Walk a Mile in My Shoes event last year, so we would expect the same timeframe should we choose to move forward with that. And then take advantage of the Rocky Hill Fall Fest for additional community conversations and connecting with our neighbors.
Excellent. The only other one I'll mention is Diwali. I know that's probably early in planning stages. I know it kind of got thrown together very quick last year, but we look to stay engaged with that group as well.
Absolutely, this time we need to.
You know, which will be November timeframe.
Yeah,
you know.
October, November.
Yeah, October, November.
And noted.
Yeah, so that's the only other one. So as, again, as these events pop up and we'll hear from Melissa in a few minutes and other events that they have that we can connect with, and we'll continue to kind of build out this calendar, I think is the plan.
Correct. So building out the calendar, and then as we build our partnership and contact list, also staying in touch with our community members, the civic partners, and the community partners to make sure they're aware of the events across the board, so we have more inclusive participation.
Awesome. Thank you very much. That was excellent. Any other thoughts or questions or additions? Ralph's just joining in. That was just, that we're on community conversations. Comment. All right, next is data gathering and analysis, and I'll kind of talk to that briefly. Is that committee is sort of non-existent at the moment. It exists on paper. The members of that committee have since, I just realized I totally missed one of the items on the agenda. Autumn's like nodding her head. I'll get back to that in a second, as I totally skipped appointments and resignations. So we will, and we'll be talking about the committee assignments later, but that is right at this point in time, an empty committee that we don't have anyone on. And it was previously chaired by Kevin Tuttle, who's no longer here, and no longer on the commission, I should point out, and a couple other members. So that one's really not much has happened in that one. I will cycle back, because I missed it, is appointments and resignations, because I do have to announce the end of the term for Commissioner Kevin Tuttle was the end of the calendar year 2024, so he's no longer on the commission. We had already appointed Ralph Kohler to the commission in our October meeting, so she's officially on, but wasn't at that meeting, so here she is for her first official meeting. So welcome.
Thank you. Sorry to be
the
late.
commission. No, it's all good. It's all good. Life happens, and it's a tough time of night. But thank you. Welcome aboard, and we're really pleased and happy to have you.
Thank you.
Working, and she's already jumped in. She's just, this is her first official full meeting, but she's been to some committee work group stuff and been part of our work already this year, so we appreciate that.
Okay.
And then the other one that I don't remember seeing on the, and maybe I didn't mention it last time in October, was appointing Prem as our, Nagvandi as our secretary for the commission. So I had appointed Megan as the vice chair, so she's on our list, and Prem has been doing that work as our secretary to fill out our executive committee. So those are my appointments and resignations. Okay, on to old business. Equity statement update. We have, I guess, a really good update in the sense that, and I sort of spoke to this a bit probably last meeting, which is why it's old business, but our unity statement was adopted by town council. I don't remember the exact date, but it was this fall. And there was a slight edit to it, so I'm gonna read it now in its new and edited version, and I'm pretty sure I got it right. If I don't, the words might be just jumbled up a little bit, because I didn't take it. It's on the wall downstairs in the town hall, and I didn't like steal it off the wall to bring it up here, which I should have done. But our Rocky Hill Town Unity Statement starts with Rocky Hill for all. The town of Rocky Hill fosters a community culture that values unity and fairness over divisiveness and injustice, cultivates, supports, and celebrates diversity, prioritizes equity and acceptance, and proactively seeks opportunities to be inclusive and welcoming. We commit to progress over time as we reflect on our past, address our present, and position Rocky Hill to create a future with an equitable quality of life for all. So that's our unity statement. Again, maybe a slight edit in that words. I have to look at the one downstairs. That was adopted by Town Council. So thank you to Town Council for doing that. We appreciate that. That was something we've been working at this past year in 2024. So I will be presenting, so to speak, at the Town Council meeting on Monday, the 3rd. So they were kind enough to put us on the agenda so we can give them an update on our work and where we stand. She'll do like a little sort of ceremony thing and kind of present us with the town statement or the equity statement. So if anyone's able to come at 7 o'clock right here in Chambers on Monday the 3rd, that would be great. And at that time, I will also talk a bit about what's attached. I say attached, like connected to this statement, right? So the statement is words, but there are also actions and commitments behind those, which Megan spoke to a few minutes ago, and in those commitments. So I'll kind of review those with the council, as well as some of the recommendations that we talked about and adopted this past year, and we'll review those again with Town Council and recommendations for other parts of our town government regarding unity. So that's about it on that update, I think. Wait, oh, our commitments?
Those are our commitments.
I guess we should read those then, huh? We may as well officially read those into the record. Now, these are our own commitments that we voted on and accepted as a commission. So these are not part of, Town Council's option at this point. So Commission on Inclusion and Innovation, our commitments. We will be innovative, pioneering, and just. We will act and respond with respect and openness to others. We will create connection and break down barriers to cultivate unity, fairness, and equity in our community so there is no place for divisiveness, discrimination, and prejudice. We recognize there is always more to learn and this work is never done. And it follows with 5 bullet points. Enable, empower, and include all. Second bullet is listen and bring visibility and voice to experiences and perspectives that represent all members of our community. Empower and support others to do so as well. The third bullet is create opportunities for dialogue, connection, and understanding in our community. Be willing to have difficult and uncomfortable conversations. The next bullet is promote activities and events that enable our community and municipality to recognize and address bias, highlight opportunities for equity and inclusion, and celebrate diversity. And our last bullet is support the execution of ideas that help our town to be inclusive, showcase diversity, enable unity, and create a sense of belonging. So the good part about adopting these, I think, for all of us and the work we do is that this is kind of our guide, right? These are our guides to the work we do, and you can see that from the stuff that Megan talked about tonight. I think it's good to show people where we're at. One thing we do have to work on, actually, Autumn, thinking about that now, is getting this up on our website, which I don't think we've done that yet, so maybe we'll get both our statement and our commitments up on our website. I was just looking at it today. We were talking about little tweaks that we need to make to it, so. Any questions or comments or thoughts about that agenda item?
None for me.
All right. Too much Tom talking. Let's switch it up here. Next is new business, and our first, we'll do this quick, and then we'll get to Missy. Our first quick one is the Witness Stone update, which you may not even know anything about, but you're about to learn.
I printed out a little information, so bear with me so I can represent this well. I pulled off their website. So the Witness Stone Project was founded in 2017 in Guilford, Connecticut. They partner with schools and civic organizations. The Witness Stones Project tells the story and restores the humanity stolen from the enslaved. It engages students in the facts of our country, our town's past. The Witness Stones Project acknowledges the contributions of all Americans. The Witness Stone Project uncovers stories that were not told in history lessons, that reflect on the existence of enslaved people in the North, the true nature of slavery and its economic contributions to our nation's wealth, the truth that Native Americans were also enslaved, and the fact that thousands of Black people lived in every American colony, and that more than 10,000 Black men fought in America's Revolution. The Witness Stone Project started as an idea to uncover and acknowledge the humanity and contributions of enslaved people who had helped to build the town of Guilford, Connecticut. Dennis Culleton, who's one of the co-founders, guided his students at Elizabeth C. Adams Middle School to use documents such as wills, property records, probate inventories, and census records to piece together forgotten lives. He taught his students to know their own town in ways that they had never done before, and to read between the lines to imagine the lives of enslaved people. Students worked together to piece history like a jigsaw, teaching each other their knowledge, like a jigsaw puzzle, teaching each other their knowledge, writing biographical sketches, and uncovering paths of history. They found ancestors along some of those paths as well. So what Rocky Hill is doing, Ed Ciccarello, who's associated with the Town Historical Society, is pulling together a variety of different folks, including this commission, to represent the town and explore the opportunity for moving this forward in the future. There's more information that's available on the witnessstoneproject.org, and I can briefly give update from the minutes that Ed shared. Sorry,
Again, this is part of our partnerships that we've been building, and so connecting with the Rocky Hill Historical Society was just another Rocky Hill organization that we've connected with, and actually Ed reached out to us to start with, so it's working well so far.
Yeah, there was a meeting on January 16th, and the next meeting is February 26th. If anyone is interested in attending, I can share more information on that. They explained that there are some documents that already exist regarding enslaved people at the Rocky Hill Historic Society and the Rocky Hill Congregational Church in the church records. Folks explained the Witness Project, the potential opportunity, and the team is exploring how best to integrate that into the school curriculum in coming years. So it wouldn't be in this school year that's currently happening, but potentially into the fall in 2025 or future. So we are getting involved in helping to support this, and we'll continue to share updates and information here for those who are interested.
Great, thank you, Megan. Any questions, thoughts, comments? I was not familiar with this thing at all until Mr. Ciccarello brought it to our attention, so we'll see where it leads. But again, just one of our opportunities to kind of connect with and collaborate with other groups in town, so.
There are videos if you're interested in learning more on the witnessstoneproject.org. PBS did a great show on showcasing what happened in Guilford with that teacher and co-founder of the project.
Awesome, yeah, I know Ed's connecting with the school districts well in this, because a lot of it is around that education of youth, right?
Correct.
Middle school and high
And
school.
helping to drive it through the
Right.
curriculum.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, all right. Hearing no questions on that, we have up next. So again, as one of our partnerships that we're trying to build is we have Melissa Hicks here from Health and Human Services. And actually, you can say the name of your group now, because it's changed and it's longer, and I can't even
It is.
keep
First
track
of all,
of it, so.
good evening, Commissioners.
Yes.
Thank you for the invite. I'm
you for
Melissa
coming.
Hicks. I am the Director of Human Youth and Senior Services here in town. It's a mouthful. So I brought along a presentation, just a very brief, to give everybody sort of an overview of everything that we do in human services, because as much as we like to spread the word, also the nature of what we do is not really to be in the limelight. It's really to meet the needs of our community. Therefore, I have found that it's helpful because a lot of people do not have any idea the expanse of what we sort of do. So I'd like to give you an idea. I'll highlight some of the major events that are relatively new or that we launch every year that might be up for discussion, or things that we can certainly pair with you on. All right, so our mission statement I thought would be of specific interest because we are a natural pairing. So our mission statement is just that. Our Human Youth and Senior Service Department is to assist residents with social, emotional, and economic needs. Our services help clients achieve self-sufficiency, maintain economic well-being, and reestablish control in their lives. We service all segments of population, which include children, adults, elderly, disabled, and the financially disadvantaged. And everybody and everything in between, I like to say, right? So all 21,000 of us here in Rocky Hill and beyond is who we service. So we are small but mighty in our department.
I love the tree logo.
The tree, thanks.
Very nice.
That's our department logo that came about, I would say, about 8 years ago or so.
That's cool.
All right. I don't have a clicker up here. Here he goes. All right, so this is just sort of the flow chart. Anybody who knows about Maisie here, that's the highlight on the flow chart. Maisie is the most important, our therapy dog.
Oh, she's adorable.
Yeah, she's a cutie patootie. So we have Nicole, who heads up all of us, and the next slide I'll explain a little bit more. It'll make more sense. Crystal's just been with us for about a year. She heads up as the human services specialist. She primarily works with elderly population on top of adult population. So anything from choices, which is Medicare training, but really specializes in any and all adult and elderly programs primarily. I will preface before I go on and say that it is very important, and we foster in our department, that every one of us cross-trains and understands the gist of how to assist everybody and anybody. Because our department is called out into the community a lot. So we are in the office, but we are also in the community, and it's really important that anybody in a time of need can be serviced by somebody. But this is just sort of an explanation of what we consider to be the go-to person, if that makes sense. Lori Stanzik has been here for well over 30 years. She started many, many moons ago when Human Services started here in town, actually, as a part-timer. She heads up our youth services. She's the coordinator. So most of Youth Services Bureau here in town, in all towns, is a lot of state statute. So anything from Project Graduation, Red Ribbon Week in the schools, all prevention, our coalition program. So anything to do with we do an analysis and work very closely with the Board of Ed, but we sort of tackle youth issues, youth problems. Our JRB, Juvenile Review Board, here in town, all of that sort of falls under Youth Services. Again, I'm throwing a lot of information at you, so if there's questions afterward, I know this is a lot. I'm trying to help give an overview.
It's really helpful. This is great.
Thank you. All right, Kelly has been with us for about 2 years now. Kelly is our youth service specialist. She's kind of fallen under Lori. It's part of our sort of succession planning as well, getting Kelly ready to sort of step up and take that role. Kelly has brought to our department some new programming and been able to really embrace and encompass being a little bit more proactive, which is really part of our mission in changing the thought process of historically, because we deal with a lot of lower socioeconomic or emotional and mental health and behavioral health issues. Unfortunately, not Rocky Hill specific, but across the board, it can have sort of a negative connotation to it or an embarrassment. And we're trying to eliminate that stigma by saying, you know, we do so many positive things. And so Kelly has been able to really help us do that by launching some programs and getting out into the community instead of just sort of being in our department and putting out fires, so to speak, if that makes sense. So we're really excited about the direction we're going and some of the new things that we have brought to the community. All right, so under Human Services, basically it's an umbrella department. So again, we all work together, we cross-train. Any of us are familiar with any of the other, but it is broken up into these 3 categories. Human Services, everything and anything from most of the economic help, state programs, federal programs, local programs, mental health evaluations, hoarding. It sort of goes on and on and on. But it's the main component of our department, if that makes sense. Youth Services, I kind of just gave you a little snippet of that. That's a lot of, falls under the Youth Service Bureau, which is huge in Connecticut. A lot of state statutes on prevention, working with youth, bringing things into the school system, and doing sort of a needs assessment every 3 years in conjunction with our Board of Ed. And then our Senior Services. This is where it gets a little confusing sometimes for people because we have a beautiful new center. And Gina does a wonderful job heading that up. So Senior Services in that capacity is everything that seniors need socially. And boy, it's a beautiful. If anybody hasn't seen, check out what she does down there. It's amazing. But everything from their nutrition and their social and entertainment is the senior center and her part of senior services. In our department, senior services is, and I mentioned briefly, but it's called Choices Training. So we have counselors that are trained and verified to do Medicare help. We do adult protective services reports. We are called into the community. We often meet with families too, as their senior citizen is potentially struggling with health or dementia related, or might need to be placed outside the home or need supports coming into the home. That's all sort of falls under the category. We have a medical equipment closet. I like to always say these are always the highlights, because every individual who comes to either calls our department or comes to our front desk has their own unique set of needs. So our job in social services is to figure out how to meet those needs, whatever that looks like. And sometimes it's way outside the category of this, and other times it's very textbook. So if that helps clarify for everybody sort of the scope of what we do in human services.
That's awesome.
Amazing. That sounds incredible.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm not going to read all these to you. This is just sort of some of the bulleted items that fall sort of under that main human service category. We do offer, we work very closely with the fire department, with our health department, our EMS, and our PD. So anybody who those emergency services may respond to here in town if there is a need for sheltering. So it could be a family, we've had fires in town that are displaced and need shelter. We are the liaison for the Red Cross to bring them in. Oftentimes, we may need to respond if an ambulance goes in and they find a hoarding or unsafe living situation, we are called in. Sometimes it's a mental health evaluation that we are called into. So we are sort of out and about 24/7, 365 days a year. Rocky Hill has that. We offer clinical service as well. Both Lori and I are licensed therapists, which is unique to Rocky Hill because most of our other neighboring communities do referrals out, and we do offer that here on a temporary basis for anything to do with mental health or behavioral. Both Lori and I have an undergrad in education as well as a master's in psych. So we sort of try to work with local preschools and do behavioral analysis and any of those services as well. Next slide, please. Okay, youth services, same sort of idea. Not everybody is aware of everything that we do here, but we work year round. So Cops and Kids, if you've heard of any of these programs, that falls under our program, our department. Coalition falls under our department. The gardening program, holiday programs, daycare information and services. We just talked a little bit about behavioral analysis. So oftentimes we're called in and asked to do, Lori or I, to do sort of observe at the camp or in local schools, and mostly preschools here, not so much in the public school systems, but we do work very closely with the school psychologists and counselors as well. They often will refer if they feel a family needs more services, so we work in conjunction. That also pertains to Juvenile Review Board that we have here in town, so we work closely with our SRO officers to sort of provide supports for our kiddos or their families if they're in need, whatever that need may be. So an entire litany of things that we do there as well. But some of the big ones you'll know, Project Graduation was started out of our department, so that's certainly a prevention program, keeping the kids safe. That was back even in our day. So next slide, please. Same, here's the senior stuff. Food pantry we do, that's obviously for everybody, but the farmer market vouchers, that's a state program. Medical equipment is local. Case management, I am the veterans representative as well, so all veteran services, that goes through our department. Anything and everything, meal delivery, if you've ever seen those flyers, so we implemented that a few years ago, so that's for any resident, regardless of socioeconomic status, who is alone and does not have a place to be or a meal. we will not only purchase the meal, but we deliver it with a card or a treat or a smile and a song. Proud to say I have done that, yes. Certainly, COVID was a big challenge, but we worked very hard in this community to get outside of people's windows, specifically in this category for seniors that were homebound, that we worried about checking in or didn't have a good social structure. We forged relationships with many, many of them and sort of in that capacity. So that changed a little bit of some of these programs and sort of how do we continue that on. And some of the new programs we've put out there are for that specific reason. You'll hear about them shortly. Okay, so these are just, we're gonna start getting into just some of the big programs we do. Again, we do a cajillion, and I will never stop bragging about my staff. But these are some of the big ones that we do here in the community that might be of interest, or somewhere you can jump in. So holiday deployment boxes, we've done it 3 years now in a row. This is our mission. It started actually my own kiddo and husband in my living room, and it sort of evolved, and it now is over 300 boxes a year. So we, within the town building here, we have made it a fun, competitive thing. We all got involved as departments, sort of sponsored boxes. That sort of went out into the community. We have Liberty Bank now for 2 years in a row that sent people that helped us decorate, because as you can see, it became very overwhelming very quickly. It's a huge endeavor, but we are very proud of the fact that we have literally sent, as Rocky Hill community, hundreds and hundreds of boxes to deployed soldiers of all branches for the last 3 years, and really hope to continue that mission.
That's amazing. Are those soldiers who are from Rocky Hill, or is that?
Some.
Okay,
Some, yeah.
yeah, that's great.
Next slide, please. Thank you. Okay, this is our Pride event. Last year, this was out in the park. Lori has had, the Pride event here out of our department has really evolved. It started, Lori sort of started heading it up, so it was a lot of the youth service program, and then it became a whole department thing. And it's grown, right? And it's evolved like everywhere, and so we were proud of that. Last year, we did bring it to the park. The last couple of years before that, Lori originally used to have it down at the ferry if anybody attended it there. Then we had it downstairs in the new community center 1 year because of rain, so there were food trucks, there were animals outside. Last year, we ran into some difficulties with some of the vendors and people we had, so it was in the park. It was a whole lot of fun, but we had the fire department there with the bubbles, and I think we were just talking about it the other day, so we're looking at getting it back inside again this year. So we're gonna try and bring it back in downstairs. But it's a good problem to have here in this community, but even though it's a big, new, beautiful space, we have so many departments and so many programs that we, as directors, are constantly vying for the space. So that's not a bad problem to have, but we are gonna try to schedule it and get it going downstairs again, so. That is definitely, I'm hoping, of interest.
Do you have that in the June timeframe? Is that,
yeah.
okay, aligned with the
Yeah.
Pride Month? Okay.
We sure do. Next slide, please. All right, Prevention Palooza. We just launched this past year. So I know you guys were interested initially scheduling, right? We all have that, but we're really hoping to grow that. I think this was a tremendous success, but like any big thing that you launch the first year, getting bodies there is difficult, getting the word out. So this is part of federal and state opioid funds that came down. And so we took this opportunity, and you can see, this is a few pictures, but we had food trucks there. We had an amazing, it was called Second Act out of Boston, up on the stage, upper left-hand corner there. They are all in recovery and do a play out on the stage. We had vendors set up there that sort of educated parents on all the different, it was like a mock bedroom. It was very informative, concerningly so, but all the things that kids can use to hide paraphernalia or things to look for that you wouldn't think, you wouldn't necessarily know. But we did have a really great turnout of everybody and anybody who offered services in prevention of any kind, drug, alcohol, gambling. And so certainly we are going to continue Prevention Palooza, and really this is a big one that It's just getting the word out and getting people there. We had, I think, pizza trucks, we had Nora's Cupcakes there, all free of charge. We had the bounce house for kids. So everybody and anybody who is willing to get out there in the community with a table, this is a place that we would really love support and partnership, just to, because I think everybody and anybody in this community, in some capacity, can gain something. Next slide, please. Okay, our international, it's supposed to say intergenerational, not international, garden
Might be
program.
international.
It's, international, intergenerational. It's all the same in our world. Everybody and everybody welcome, right? Learning, mentoring, social connections, physical health, mental health. We are growing this program this year. This is another one. So Lori has had the garden program for several years. We had some raised beds, if anybody is aware of. It's called the Kennedy House next to the police station. That's where our food pantry is. Out behind that is where the garden is located. The last several years, it has grown. So it really was a youth service program. We had the kiddos primarily in the summer. We built a curriculum that encompassed going to local farmers markets. They were given a small amount of money. So it was learning money management. They were given sort of ingredients. They had to negotiate. They had to use social skills to negotiate with farmers. They then brought it back and they had a recipe to do. And we talked about healthy eating, how to take care of our bodies. We had a huge success with adults. We have flowers back there that's like for bees and all kinds of stuff. Fruit trees were donated back there. So this year we are going to put up a fence and we are expanding. We're going to have the raised beds redone by I think our facilities department is going to rebuild those for us because they've had some water damage. And we're going to get a schedule going in there, so we will still have the kiddos, but we would really love to open this opportunity up for our all ages and really have a set schedule to have everybody have an opportunity to come out in some capacity and sort of be involved with our gardening program. So,
I just got to point out that Prem's children are in the picture.
oh, good.
And are you in the picture?
Probably not.
Are you in the picture?
That's okay. You can
I
plug our
participate-
program and say it was great.
Yeah, right. No, we participated in that in the past
Yeah,
as
I
the
know
Boy
you have.
Scouts and Cub Scouts. And
Yeah,
it's been
yeah,
a
you have.
wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful program.
We had an Eagle
He was
Scout
just pointing
actually
out, I
too.
didn't see, and I was like, wait, that is your boy. It's like right there.
We had an Eagle Scout 2 years ago, I think, built the,
That's-
behind there, we
that's
have all
my
kinds of.
son.
Oh, it was your son?
his son.
Awesome job. What a nice boy he was. He came and did that project and built, and so it's still used out there all the time. If you go by and see, you should really check it out. So that being said, this is another program that has really grown, and we are expanding on that and sort of trying to make it better and community involvement, so.
It's a lovely way to bring diverse groups of people together
Absolutely,
from the
absolutely.
community.
And a lot of the produce is, almost all of it is actually donated. If the kids don't use it for healthy eating, it actually goes back into the food pantry and is distributed to our residents who are really struggling with obviously produce, but having healthy food options. So we love that. Okay, we're launching, this is a brand new program that we are launching this year.
I saw that.
So this is a big one, and coming from our perspective, we've had a lot of questions about this. Obviously, this is not entirely new to Rocky Hill. They did have an adult theater program. Our department, that was out of Parks and Rec, and it was very successful. So we are not looking to mimic or Parks and Rec, I want to make very clear, still has youth theater. It's a wonderful program. We are not looking to compete with that. This is simply coming at it from a very psych-driven and behavioral health, which is what we do, at the core of what we do. It is, our mission really with this program is to educate the community as well as welcome them on how many therapeutic benefits to theater there are. And allowing our residents a space, whether they want to be in the back and be painting and be creative, have a community to learn lines or to be on stage in a costume, under makeup, and be playing a role, has so many health and mental health benefits. And sort of we're coming at it from that perspective. So certainly we want everybody involved in it. And what I want to make clear is we're not saying you have to benefit to be involved. If you just love theater, come do that. But that is sort of our mission behind this, and to embrace everybody who just wants a creative space or wants to learn more about a creative space and be involved in that. And we think that's really important. So we are launching that. We are getting a lot of calls and a lot of interest so far. So that's coming up next week, February 4th.
That's like an informational meeting on the 4th?
Yes. Yeah. So everybody and anybody, it's going to be, hey, come one, come all, kind of.
February 4th at 6 o'clock. I'm just going to
That's-
say it out loud. So if
thank
people
you.
are watching.
Come on, everybody, please. All are welcome. Next slide, please, I think. Are we done? No. All right. Sensory Collective, I'm sorry. Sensory Collective. So this is another sort of umbrella of programs, brand new this year. This was our department's main goal in the budget process last year. Each department identifies a main goal, and we really work and are held, accountable in a very good way to each other and to the town council and to our residents here in town who pay into taxes on what we are doing as a department. How are we advancing? How are we making things better? And it's just sort of accountability in a really good way. Ours, for our department, was really taking this idea of sensory collective. That being said, there's a lot of trends, right? There's a million trillion trends in the world, but what we found is the spectrum trend was a growing capacity, certainly not in Rocky Hill, not in Connecticut, not in the US, everywhere. But what we wanted to do was take the initiative to reach those who felt that they needed something or could benefit from that. So we have worked in bits and pieces, and we did just have an open house a couple weeks ago. Again, a small crowd, but a very, very strong crowd. Advocates, parents who are very involved, parents who were looking to get involved. So it only takes one, in my book, to be successful. Very much like other departments like Parks and Rec or whatnot, we have the luxury of, we don't measure success based on how many people are there. We measure success based on, did we meet the need of one person, right? And so we did, and that was successful for us. So in essence, the Sensory Collective is a program that we are launching to Rocky Hill. It is going to be parent support groups, parent and peer-led support groups, a place for parents who have a child or a loved one or a friend or just wants to learn and get involved and be a support of anybody and anybody who may have somebody in their family with sensory issues, sensitivities, on the spectrum, any of those things. You could be an educator and want to learn more from parents just to be better at your job. We're not interested in defining who should be there, more so what we want to offer. The other thing is we're going to be offering a couple of playgroups. By these playgroups, we have purchased and borrowed and looked into a lot of different sensory toys and things that just sort of creating a safe space that if a parent wants to come and have an opportunity, because what we heard when we asked is a lot of parents who felt like their child didn't have a place to go or felt like they couldn't bring their child if they were loud or had behaviors that made others uncomfortable. And so what we want is a safe space for any child or their parent to feel like they can come, they can be part of a group, and they are safe here. And so we will be launching those two groups. The last, and I think my favorite part of this program, is the tent that we are bringing to the community. So we have purchased I want to say it's a 20 by 20, large tent. It's dark, it's black, thick, it's going to have lights in it. In essence, it's a mobile sensory room. So we would really love to have that for Fall Fest, for Elmridge Park, for major events that anybody here in town, groups, commissions, anybody who wants to launch something where we know there will be a lot of noise or a lot of excitement and food trucks and people, a place where a parent can go themselves, certainly, you might find me in there to take a break, but can bring their child and just say, we're gonna go in here because we wanna stay for the fireworks, but we need to put on some headphones and be in a space to just take a breath. Because I think everybody needs to learn to do that, and I think we have a lot to learn from the community that naturally does that, and I've learned a lot from that, so that is part of this as well. This would certainly be a very natural place for us to be able to work together and certainly advertise or educate each other or just be out in the community. Those are
really
my
helpful.
thoughts.
Yeah. Thank you so
Questions?
much.
I have a question. Have you ever thought about any veterans suicide prevention programs, or do you currently have any of those?
You know, we don't specifically. So as the veterans representative, we do get statistics. We do talk about that. We have resources such as 211 or counseling ourselves to get veterans that it is touched upon. The Elks come in every year and they do a event here in a mental health event, and it varies some, but they always touch on veterans suicide. This past year it was geared at gun violence and suicide specifically with veterans. That was touched upon. So it is offered, minuscule, like probably not enough, but it is touched on here. Certainly if that was a need or a request, we would either be able to provide resources, or certainly we are always in a position to be able to formulate something. If there's a need in this community, whether it happens immediately, it may not be a huge thing, but certainly one of the strengths of our department is that we are able to grab resources, find resources, put something together. I mean, we can get a space and have a cup of coffee and address issues. So if that is something that's of need, we'd be happy to do it.
Okay, well, when I looked at your slide for Prevention Palooza, it brought that to mind. And it doesn't have, veterans have the highest incidence of suicide, but there's also youth suicide, obviously, and suicide all along.
Actually, the statistics, you're not wrong, but the statistics actually are elderly now. We shifted, yeah. But 1 in every 6 seconds, a soldier commits suicide. So that is an accurate statistic, and it's alarming, but it's a really good suggestion. I do believe we reached out to the Veterans
Okay.
Association to come to Prevention Palooza, but I will make note of that and make sure, because you're absolutely correct, that's part of prevention.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you for the suggestion.
Well, I think it underscores the importance of the work that you do in connecting these kind of traditionally marginalized people in our community with other people and with activities and events and
Yeah.
things. So thank you for the work that you do.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other questions for Missy?
Absolutely, this is great work. Thanks for sharing, and appreciate everything that's being done.
Absolutely. Likewise. Thank you much.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. Again, I think we were all taking notes here today and jotted down a number of the different things. You know, we'll definitely connect. I mean, you and I work together on a number of things.
Yeah, we
and
do.
These initiatives are some of them,
Yep.
and definitely I think the commission has a place to connect with you guys. So we greatly appreciate it, because it was much more than I think any of us really kind of imagined that the department does. And with a small but mighty group. I mean,
Small but mighty.
With five of you total. And well, Maisie, wait, Maisie, so 6.
Yeah. Six
Amazing
with,
six.
yeah. You're right.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a
Thank you.
great weekend.
Thank you.
you.
Much appreciated. Thanks for coming tonight, Miss. All right, well, after that super informative presentation, I feel this next part is going to be not quite so exciting, but although I guess we got the update. The next thing on the agenda was the Cora J. Belden Library Planning. You don't have anything to add?
No, nothing to add, but we will continue that conversation with
Yeah,
them.
yeah, that's great. And we can do the same thing, I think, is maybe invite them, if they're able, have a representative come to a meeting and do a little presentation to us to see the work they're doing. I know in general, libraries in general, and Cora J. Building specifically, do a lot of work around inclusion. Having been on that email chain with Michael, it's, the work that they're doing is right in line with what we do, so, and are always promoting those same goals, so that's great. Thank you, Prem, for leading that. Next on the agenda, I have discussion about committee assignments. And I just bring that up because, again, we're still fairly new with most of the commissioners here, you know, going on just over a year for 4 of us, and Ralph being new. Just think about the committees that we have. We have only 2 right now. We can, you know, create ad hoc communities or working groups as we need to. But what I wanted to stress by putting us on the agenda today was a lot of the work that we want to do, I think, gets done at these committee meetings. This is an opportunity at these full meetings to really report out on the work that's been done and is being done, is being worked on, so the community, as they're watching these meetings, as they're listening to them or whatever, seeing them on TV, can hear about the work we're doing. But a lot of the connections that we're gonna make, you know, conversations with Health and Human Services, you know, can happen at some of these committee meetings, and just some of the work. So think about that, and we do need well, should fill the data gathering and analysis group, so we can talk more about that and what that looks like. So if you're interested in whatever on this, please let me know and let us know, and we'll work towards that. Any questions on that at all? I know we've all been going to meetings, so that's good. That's a good start. Report from Commission Chair. So I have a few things, couple comments. I'll be brief since we're already up against the hour. We haven't had a long meeting like this in a while, so this is kind of nice. We have things to discuss and hear about. I did want to just briefly acknowledge, being the Commission on Inclusion, the recent events in our country have a lot of people, in our community feeling a certain way about inclusion. And I just want to acknowledge that exists right now. It's putting a lot of people in really tough situations and not feeling comfortable. And our goal here in Rocky Hill and our goal here on the commission is to make all people feel welcome and included in our community. So I just wanted to state that here in Rocky Hill, and specifically here on our commission, all are welcome. And if there are issues and things that come up, please bring them to our attention, and we'd be happy to work with you. But anyway, I just want to acknowledge that briefly. And also, again, welcome to Ralph. This is my first opportunity to welcome you officially to the commission, so.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for joining us. We're excited to have you. Lastly, thank you to Kevin Tuttle, who is not here, but did serve on the commission for 3 years, and we appreciate his service. And he ran the Data Gathering Analysis Committee and did some great work for us, so we appreciate his work over the years, as this is all volunteer that we all do. I think that's all I have for now. Did I miss anything? Megan?
I don't think so.
From anybody? Dana, Autumn, we good? They're like, let's go home. Public comment. This portion of the meeting is specifically set aside for comments from the public, who are asked to limit their comments to 3 minutes. For persons interested in providing public comment but cannot attend the meeting, you can email your written comment to commissioninclusioninnovation@rockyhillct.gov. I don't believe we've had any correspondence or emails come in, so nothing there. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
And do I hear a second? All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Meeting adjourned at 6:24.